My head's in the clouds, can you bring me back down, boy? I need it. 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 Cali, 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 Kush, 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 Cali. Cali Kush, pase blanc, Cali Kush, quiero fumar, Cali Kush, dime na, 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 na. No to that nigga, no to the mid. In my bag, I am the Balenciaga sponsorship. We smoking blunts, don't pass no clip. My head's in the clouds, can you bring me back down, boy? I need it. Girl, don't trip, take a hit, take a flight to Cali, 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 Kush, 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 Cali.
Fumo mari todo el día, creepy kush, todo el día. Prende Philly, llévame a la orilla. Playa, mujeres fumando. Mira, tírame blunt y esos nalgas de mentira. Tan brinda, que chimba, colombiana linda. Siempre con los ojos rojos de Cali, con mi amiguita Mari.
My head's in the clouds, can you bring me back down, boy? I need it. My head's in the clouds, can you bring me back down, boy? I need it. Need it. Need it. Need it. Cali, 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 Kush.
Is that better? Bien, muy bien.
Muy bien. Excelente.
Excelente.
Yeah.
We were having a private conversation. We didn't want you to know. No. No. We got it back on track now.
Okay, let us know if is everything right. Let me
Everybody
go.
says, yep, now it's back.
Okay, finally. Okay.
All right. Shout out to all you guys. Let's get some music going. Let's get Andrea's smooth music going, background music going right here. But we'll put it at
I like
7.
how my hair looks like.
It looks
I just see
amazing.
my hair trimming. You know,
Uh-huh.
you girl, I learned how to do my hair, cut my, you know that I know how to cut my hair? I did it yesterday.
Oh,
I did it.
okay.
Yeah. You see?
Fancy schmancy.
And all my hair trimmings, I learned to do all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrea's always going out to get her hair done. Now
Mhm.
she decided on her own to be like, let me find out what it is to do my own hair. So I was like,
Yeah.
and it's been looking amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So my mom doesn't have to pay expensive.
Yeah, now mom comes to her now.
Yeah, absolutely.
There we go. A little bit, just to make sure you guys can hear it. Okay.
You know, in this screen, we don't look like too much. Okay, the color is not too
Too bright. Too
bright.
like this one over
yes.
here. Like this monitor. That's true. That's true. You can tell the difference in the monitors. Shout out to you guys. Once again, we're talking as if you guys aren't even in the building. Tonight's topic is about, we keep trying to warn you guys about the United States. I know we love the United States, our country 'tis of thee. But Andre and I are discovering countries that are warning their citizens not to visit the United States. American tourism has dropped over 40% in the last 90 days. Americans have had over 900,000 people from around the world cancel their tickets. We're talking about people that probably waited during COVID to get their tickets. Get their visa. People that have been waiting for years to get their visa.
For years to get a visa. And even the people having visa or getting visas right now, they decide to not travel this time because the situation.
Yep.
And so, we're not gonna lie, you guys. Some people, they got their wrong intentions to go and move out over there, using a negative way of the tourist visa. So that's why, seriously, it's not worth it.
Shout out to all you guys. I'm gonna have Andrea do the shout outs in a second, but yeah, it's sad over there, man. It's really sad that the fact that now tourism is down 40%. 900,000 people have decided that they do not want to visit the United. Like Andrea say, it's not that they don't want to visit the United States at all. They just decided that they don't want to visit the United States right now. And even they're talking about the World Cup. The FIFA World Cup is going to be impacted by the way that this current administration is setting things up. And also the Olympics is supposed to be coming either this year or next year. Actually, it's next year where the Olympics is supposed to be coming to the United States. And Morocco is already getting ready for 2030. So just in case you wonder who's next in line to get the world, not the World Cup, but the Olympics, Morocco is next in line. And so Morocco's getting everything set up. But the United States is looking real bad because there's so many bans, and then you got ICE running all over the place, just grabbing up people, snatching up families. So a lot of families are like, I'm not going to the United States right now. You won't be snatching me and my daughter up. You won't be snatching my 6-year-old up.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I just really shout out to everyone here.
So let me let Andre read all the shout outs.
No, yeah, I already just passed through all the hellos for you guys.
Okay.
But yeah, the thing is right now, how is gonna be the Olympics? No, the World Cup next year, because we always have a lot of Africans teams. How they're gonna do that next year? If it's at least who ban it, or how do you put the
banned
word? Banned it.
Mean banned it or stop it.
Yeah, so it's a lot of Africa countries that they are banned
from the United States.
So Iran,
right.
Iraq.
So we're gonna be looking at these countries tonight. How do you ban these countries around the world that the president is banning all these countries, but at the same time the Olympics in the World Cup is coming up. Even if you let the teams in, you can't ban the fans of Iran, the fans of Iraq, the fans of South Africa. So when it comes to the World Cup and with this new presidency, you guys are looking at
Thank you.
It's looking really bad.
T-Mac, I am in San Andres Island, and I have an emergency dental appointment for a broken filling. What's that?
Feeling like inside your tooth.
Okay. They charged me 100,000 pesos, and I am in for.
That's only $23 to get a filling. We guys know that you're gonna pay a lot in the States for a filling for your tooth.
And thank you for your donation. Thank you.
You're gonna pay a lot for a filling for your tooth. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to you guys that have been purchasing the books. Shout out to all you guys that have purchased. Stop Making Excuses. Shout out to all you guys that have been sending us photos, man. We dropped the link. A lot of you guys have been ordering the 44 laws of travel. Yeah, 44 laws of travel, and anywhere is possible. Thank you, boo.
Yeah.
And anywhere is
proud.
possible.
This is our first three children.
Yeah, our first 3 children, the books, because we put a lot of work into it. We really have.
It's absolutely.
So we're gonna be working your nerve for the next probably the next year. We'll be working your last nerve in regards to advertising. We're going to be all over. Right now, I'm dropping us on Ingram Books. Ingram Books is where you go to get your books into the local libraries in the United States, Canada, and UK, as well as trying to get your books into Walmart, Target, and other Macy's. So you have to go through Ingram Books. So that's my next step right now. We did Amazon. I'm also working on getting building up our own publishing house. Remember, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, to where we keep 90% of the proceeds. 90% of the proceeds. So that's one of the things that I'll be working on over the next couple of weeks. But at the end of the day, guys,
Absolutely.
none of this could have happened without you guys as well as us. So it's all a team effort between Andre and I, as well as you all, when it comes to the creation of these books right here.
Yeah, absolutely. And since I met Andre, he had been telling me about the books. And finally, this year, finally, he just finished.
Yep, I put in a lot of late night hours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, sometimes not even going to bed until 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So I'll do a live stream with you guys, and I'll be writing throughout the night, all the way until 1 o'clock in the afternoon, many nights. But I appreciate you guys supporting us, man. Really do. Shout out to my man Ken in the building from the UK.
From the UK.
Is that pounds or wait a minute? That may be from Europe.
No, that's pounds.
So that's pounds. That's okay.
That's
UK.
2 pounds.
Yes, sir. Shout out to my man Ken in the building. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
My man Scheme is in the building, or Slim is in the building. Shout out to you, Slim. Appreciate you being here. Shout out to Andre, and he said that he would do it, and he did it, man. Manish, yes, sir.
Yes,
Man-ish, yes, sir. This is man-ish, and that's what it's all about. Just focusing on it and finishing off. Yes, sir. Okay, shout out from the UK.
I hope to back to the UK sooner. You know that Colombians will need a visa again to go to UK, you know?
Yeah, they changed it after we got back from the UK with no issues. Then they changed it where we as Americans have to fill out a form to go into the UK, and Colombians need to have a visa
authorization, and we need to fill a visa from the beginning, like paperwork, fingerprints, everything from the beginning. And it's way more expensive compared to the US tourist visa. Yeah,
your hair really looks nice. You're right.
Yeah, I know.
It looks really nice.
I know. Thank you.
And also for you guys in the UK, if you're wondering if I wrote this book for you guys, only for Americans, no. I wrote this book for you guys to be able to live in 60% of the world, upper middle class, on less than $2,500 to $3,000 a month. You can do that. 60% of the world. You don't have to live in the middle class. You can live in the upper middle class. I wrote down as much information, and I did so much research for you guys that are in Canada and for all you guys that are in UK. So don't just think this was American-based book on how to relocate out of your home country. I wrote this for Canadians, so it's a lot of research and a lot of websites and a lot of organizations and a lot of groups and a lot of behind this, how to get your visa if you're from UK, just as much as it is how to get your visa for Colombia if you're from Canada or the United States. So I made sure I put all 3 Western countries in this book, and I got so much research in here for you guys. For if you're just like, I don't want to go do all the homework and research, I just got a chapter just dedicated to so much information for you guys. I know the light's off, for you guys to research and homework, just whole chapters just dedicated. And I also have a chapter dedicated to you guys for a checklist. So you get a chance to fill in the blanks. So it's one thing to write about how to do a journey, but at the end of the book, I want to end it for you to write in the book, to write out your own journey from couch to your future country. So you have a whole chapter dedicated with blank lines and everything in there, and it's questions that I ask you. So I've got questions that I ask you to answer. And you put the answers in the book for your particular journey as well.
Okay, that's good. There we go. Okay, good.
All right. Shout out to you guys. Let's get ready to get started with the video. Like I said, tonight's video is dedicated to the fact that there are countries right now that are upset with the United States and how the United States is doing them as far as the 10% tariffs or the 50% tariffs. Shout out to my man Bobby Coltrane of the Coltrane family.
Bad behavior. I already know how you guys are.
I know, right?
Especially drinking hand show.
Friday night. Shout out to my man Zay being in the building as well. And my man 0 milligrams, as well as the rest of you guys being here. Appreciate you guys being here. And all you guys that have joined the Patreon, we'll be dropping the link. Appreciate you guys. We have a goal. We're about $20 away from the Patreon goal, so we appreciate that. And one thing that I do want to do is just get started. Shout out to my man Zay. Zay said, corrupt U.S. politicians see more and more brothers leaving the plantation, as well as sisters. Absolutely correct. Sounds like they are trying to make it hot for travel. It does seem like that. It does seem like that. He said, what do you think the result will be? You know, I think that one of the results are going to be just like what Brazil just did, just like what other countries have done. I believe that a lot more countries are going to put a visa on the United States as far as us traveling to so many countries. Mm-hmm. I think Canada will come up with a visa for us. I think everybody. I think going to be more countries. They're going to come up with visa. I think DR might even come up with a visa. I think Colombia will even come up with a visa, because these are countries that have done nothing wrong to the United States. They've been allies to the United States, and Trump still put a tariff on them. So I think it might go ahead, babe.
No. What you say is
because
right.
So I think that because Brazil did it so easily, other countries might follow suit. And I'm not saying, I'm standing on it. I'm saying that it's gonna happen like that. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is I can see that, because we have to fill out a visa for Thailand. We got to fill out a visa for Portugal. We got to fill out a visa for most of Southeast Asia. So
to Venezuela.
Yeah, to Venezuela. So I think that's one of the things that might come down the turnpike. And do remember, guys, Trump hasn't even been in office 4 months. Yeah, you guys got 4 years of hell to go through. All you Trump pansies, you voted for this, you love this, this is what we get. And so it's going to impact us all. Shout out to my man Aiken in the building. Appreciate you, brother. Appreciate you. As well as T-Mac says this. Go ahead, baby.
If you have any melanin, you know that you are getting a tariff or travel ban.
For real. Yep. If you go into the United States, go ahead, baby.
The thing is, how I see it right now is other countries are going to open doors, put in some way to the tourists. For example, Canada this year, they are visa free. They finally announced that they have visa free for Panamanians and Argentinians. How do you say
Argentinians? Mm-hmm.
Okay, Argentinos. So for Panama and Argentina, their citizens can go to Canada and they don't need to apply for any visa. So I wish we can have that, but Colombians it's so sad to say that, because I'm Colombia, but Colombians, for me, if you give to a Colombian person the hand, they take the whole arm. So I say, and I make my comment on every video, I say, I wish that we can have the benefit like we had with UK, but Colombians, they don't know how to
act.
They don't know how to act. Yeah, exactly. So they take the advantage because we don't need any visa. So it would be a lot of disorder, and I say no. I mean, I'm not surprised that Colombia is not there, because Colombia is always applying for false asylum applications. So it's not fair. So
and it's never the sad part is it's never the Colombians that can afford to travel.
No,
it's never the Colombians that are about their business, the good everyday people that we see walking down the street. It's always people that are scammers, people that want to do crime, people that only have a one-way ticket to UK. They can't afford to go back and forth like a lot of Colombians can. Yeah. So they'll get a one-way ticket to Spain or UK, and then they scream asylum.
That's the same thing that happens with UK. A lot of Colombians from Europe, because to have a lot of benefits in any country in Europe, you gotta have your residency.
Right.
So what they did is just go to, with the visa free in that time, go to UK and apply for false or fake asylum applications, to stay over there and have faster the residency or the green card, but let's say the residency card and all the benefits and job permissions, all of that. So that's the bigger reason why UK removed the visa free for Colombians.
Because they basically just messed it up for themselves.
Exactly.
They didn't have it for a year. Like Andre and I went over there.
2 years.
They had 2 years.
2 years.
Wow.
And that was so sad.
Wow, just 2 years, and that was it. They were back to being without having to fill out a visa. Yeah.
Like the how to say it? the crab
in the bucket.
Yeah, like we're not going forward, we're going
backwards, sideways, like a crab.
Yeah.
Walking sideways, not even going forward, 1 foot forward, 2 steps back. Yep. Yeah, he said Trump is trying to figure out how to detain Americans in El Salvador. Yeah, he is trying to send people over to the El Salvador, not even back to your home country, but he's sending those people to El Salvador prison. And you right, Jay. You did tell me. What you about to say, babe?
No, nothing.
Okay.
I'm just reading the comments.
Shout out to my man JJ in the building, and we're about to get started with the video. Let's get started with the video right about now. We had the stage. Okay, I don't know what's going on with that, but let's remove that from studio and we'll bring the video back up.
Breaking immigration news that I never imagined would be possible. European countries and Canada just issued a travel warning for the United States. Countries like Germany, Canada, Finland are warning their citizens against traveling to the U.S. They cite the risk of arbitrary detention. Experts estimate that tourism to the U.S. will tank by $22 billion. So my question to you is this. If Europe and Canada are warning their citizens against traveling to the U.S., do you really think this is the right time to risk traveling internationally if you have a green card or a visa in the U.S.?
Yeah, that's another thing. A lot of people that would normally travel because they have a green card, they're afraid to travel.
Yeah, absolutely true. Absolutely. Now people that got green card from the U.S., they are afraid to travel outside of the U.S. because they are afraid to not back to the U.S. And a lot of people have, I read about it, and a lot of people, they're afraid to, be questioned. Free
Shannon Sharp.
Okay, you explain me that later. I don't understand what's going on with Shannon. But yeah, a lot of people with green cards, they're not traveling. A lot.
Yeah. So true.
Wow.
So true.
Yeah.
Yep. Be a global citizen. Hey, I kid you not. Sometimes I kind of like take my citizenship opportunity here in Colombia for granted. But now I'm more, in my mind, I'm more serious than ever about getting my Colombian citizenship now, because just having the U.S. citizenship is not working.
I'm dreaming with the European.
Yeah, Andre wants the European citizenship.
I'm dreaming with the European because European is just like always in the top 10, the best passports around the world.
Peaceful country, beautiful things to see. Yeah, we like going to Europe. That's no doubt. Okay, so let's go back to the video.
Let me know in the comments below.
Well, if you weren't embarrassed to be an American yet, you probably will after you hear this story. Canada, Germany, the UK, and other nations around the world have issued travel warnings, travel bans, and travel advisories against the United States of America. Did you ever believe that you would live to see a time where the United States of America would have become such an international pariah that other countries are warning their citizens to not come here, to not travel here, to not vacation here, to not have anything to do with Americans, American products, or the United States of America as a whole. Did you ever think you'd live to see this kind of shit?
I did.
Have we made America great again yet? This is fucking embarrassing.
First, other countries issuing travel advisories for the U.S., what they're telling people planning to visit. Welcome back to the 5 o'clock news. I'm Natasha Verma.
And I'm Steve Lacey. Some European countries, as well as Canada, warning their citizens that if they travel to the U.S., they must follow all entry rules or risk being detained.
Fox 5's Jessica Formosa is live in the newsroom with a closer look at some of the messaging from these other countries. Jess.
That's right, Steve and Natasha. Since President Trump took office, there have been incidents of tourists being held by ICE for weeks. Now, European countries making it clear, even if you do have a visa, you are not guaranteed entry to the U.S. Britain, Germany, Finland, and Denmark among the countries who have updated their travel advisories. The United
Before she goes any further, realize these are white countries that are telling, and I'm not talking about trying to put a race into it, but we know how white folk look out for white folk, right? So if they own people, if Trump's own people are telling him, we're not coming to your country, bro. You detaining people from Finland? You're detaining people from Germany? If Germany and Finland can't get in, our black butts and brown butts ain't gonna get in. I'm gonna say that again. If you think Germany and Finland are having a problem getting in, how much more will it be those that are coming from the continent of Africa or the continent of South America or from the Caribbeans? At the same time, we're going to hear a little bit more the fact that we have the World Cup coming up and the Olympics. This is the time where everybody should be able to come in freely.
Absolutely.
Because we're going to lose out.
Make money with tourists. You know how much people are planning to go to the United States. Colombia, they already have a tickets to go to the United States. Okay. Let me answer.
All right.
Wait. For a second.
All right. So we got a call coming from our security downstairs. But yeah, shout out to my man Ken in the building. Ken says this. He said, I can't go to the US again because of the info on my phone. Wow. And they are going through people's phones. He said, I was in that when you was in the UK. Okay, cool. He said, and sorry I missed you guys. Well, I'm glad that you got a chance to check out what Ken says when he can't go back to the States.
Oh, wait a second.
Get your pillow. I got you.
There we go.
Okay, you good?
Okay, there we go.
Check out what Ken said, babe.
Ken say, I can't go to the US again because of the info on my phone. I was in Thai when you was in UK. Sorry, I miss you guys.
Wow, man.
He came back to because
he can't go back to the States because they said something that was in his phone they didn't like.
Oh my God. That's why I don't opinion too much.
Yeah. Zay said this. Zay says that we know that the YouTube birth rates are going down, or the youth birth rate is going down. That's so true. He said close to extinction level now. That's so true. Seems like closer to 2050 gets, the more erratic and reckless certain politicians become. It's something that it's as if something that they know that we don't know. He say like scorched earth, reckless, just being straight reckless. That's so true.
Yeah, and absolutely, and I want to mention this now that I say, because guys, even Colombia right now cases, even Colombia, they're getting more strict when it comes to visas for foreigners.
Oh, white. Thank you very much. White people.
Oh,
hey, y'all
okay.
know I don't know all. Like, y'all quit acting like I know them all, man.
But yeah, Colombia is getting a lot of serious when it comes to process any visa, any type of visa for, especially for Americans.
Yeah.
Like Colombia now is just like, no matter marriage, pension visa or retirement visa.
Yeah, it used to be easy.
Yeah, they used to be the easy ones or it's complicated, but now the government just like they are more strict, more careful. And I know this all this situation between Colombia and the U.S. and of course, so President Petro, who I hope that he leaves next year. But yeah, it's just like it's really surprising what's going on right now and around the world.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah.
So true.
Second, Father of many nations, thank you so much
Shout
for your
to Abraham.
donation. I have to go back, but next year.
Yeah, shout out to my man Abraham. Everything is going good with him.
I have to go back.
I gotta go back. Okay.
Yes, you guys. I'm sorry.
All
I'm
right.
sorry for it. It's so funny when I see those Instagram videos. I saw a Instagram video say like when a Latino, a Colombian saying, "Don't go to Colombia, enjoy Miami," and the the video said, "You have no idea what you're talking about. That's the BS that I'm talking about."
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
All right.
Okay.
Let's get ready to get started. Or get back to the video. So I'm gonna remember they're talking about the travel advisory from other countries.
Now, European countries making it clear, even if you do have a visa, you are not guaranteed entry to the U.S. Britain, Germany, Finland, and Denmark among the countries who have updated their travel advisories. The United Kingdom.
Yes.
Starting for, sorry, babe.
Go ahead, babe.
I started with this, you guys, even for Colombians, and I will tell this for Colombians. If you get a visa, U.S. visa, okay, you get it. You're not even making to the States. It's not any guarantee that you can going into the States. And I explain this to a lot of people because it's the reality. Why? Because people that get deported just like the first trip. Like why? That happens. It's just like that's migration in the U.S. They just see your profile or something going on and they say no, even though that you have American visa, that's not guarantee 100% that you're going into the country. And a lot of people like, yeah, consuls say, yeah, visa approved, welcome to the United States. Yeah, but that is just 20%. The other 80% is migration officer. That's it. And any country works like that.
Hey, Kofa. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So
Yeah.
do realize that the news is, and that's why a lot of people are canceling because they're starting to realize why fly 20 hours to get to the United States, 18 hours, or even 9 hours to get to the United States just to get turned back around. So a lot of people are canceling their flights. Like I said, over 900,000 people over the since January, for 2025, over 900,000 people that were scheduled to come to the United States, spend money in the United States, get hotel accommodations, restaurants, go to different events, are not coming to the United States. The United States has a 40% drop in tourism over the last few months.
Absolutely. In Europeans, for example, Europeans got this. If you're European, like you have visa free to go to the United States, a lot of countries for the European Union, and you go to, you visit Cuba, you need to apply for a visa in the embassy, in the U.S. embassy, like how we do, because you went to Cuba. In the United States, you went to Cuba, so you need a visa, even though that you're Spanish or Italian or
Finland.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter where you from.
Like Chilenos.
If you went to if you've been to Chile, or if you're from Chile, if you went to Cuba, like we did, you got to fill out a regular visa.
Yeah.
Just because you went to Cuba.
Exactly. It's a lot. You have no idea how many people, Spanish people, they go into the United States and they say, no, you can come into the country. Why? Because you went to Cuba 1 year ago or 6 months ago. You need a visa again. So back to your country, apply for a visa, and then you come back.
This is so true. We're going to let the video ride for a minute.
warning its citizens you may be liable to arrest or detention if you break the rules. Germany's Federal Foreign Office making its own updates to the travel advisories, saying travelers that even have a valid authorization permit or U.S. visa doesn't guarantee the right to enter the country, and if refused, there is no legal action to take against the decision. And Denmark telling its transgender citizens to contact the U.S. Embassy before traveling to the United States, the U.S. only recognizing two genders, male or female. A travel expert I spoke with says she's concerned about these travel warnings.
So now go ahead.
No.
So transgender are warned, don't come.
Oh
because
my God.
they, other countries have transgender on their form of their passports and their visas. United States doesn't anymore. So if you're transgender, and this is the funny part, if you're transgender, you can't come in the States. But if you're transgender, you can't get a U.S. passport to leave the States. Remember we watched that video a couple weeks ago, the guy that had just left the trying to get his passport. He had just left I forgot what office he went to, but he had been trying for months to get his passport after he had his surgery. And because he's transgender, he's still technically a male, even though he changed his name legally and everything else was changed. But like you said, biologically, he's still a dude.
Absolutely.
But since he looks like a woman, but still a dude, it's so confusing that it's a hold on passports for transgenders in the United States.
Yeah.
So you're imprisoned in the United States if you're transgender, but you can't fly into the United States if you're transgender.
I mean, I am it's so funny because I read with my mind. For prophets say, yeah, duh, he's only transgender.
Right.
I mean, that, yeah. And for example, when I process the Colombia visas for you guys, in Cancillería say the three options: female, male, and non-binary. When I process the visa. So in Colombia, nothing changed. But I mean, for be real, it's two genders. I mean,
right.
I don't see like, and I know the UK has been a really big thing because last week they finally, we talk about this, they finally approved that a woman is a biological woman.
I remember it, yeah.
And a lot of people, they were just like disagree, but it like I said, let's say that you are a transgender woman, and you said that you are a woman, okay? But the moment for a fight or
right.
in sports, your biological
takes over.
Absolutely, your nature,
that DNA, the male DNA takes over.
Absolutely, I mean, for real. And yeah, it's dangerous teaching our kids. I'm completely agree. I completely agree, and I completely disagree with some shows on Netflix or movies that now they show cartoons, the two female cartoons, or kissing and everything. I not agree with that. I not agree. The kids see two guys kissing each other, hugging each other. I not agree because it's a kid brain. Right. It's just like you need to respect that. But yeah, now a lot of people is just like going crazy, and they get mad because you don't accept this modern world.
Yeah, that's so true. Oh, my fault, guys. Here we go.
There are hundreds of thousands of Americans who work in the travel industry, so this could be very bad for the economy in general.
A woman in Washington who migrated to the U.S. more than 50 years ago has been detained in Tacoma for over a month. Her family says she was stopped by Custom and Border Protection when returning from a trip to the Philippines. They say Lulyn Dixon, who is 64 years old, is a lawful permanent resident of the United States. An immigration attorney telling the family there's a potential reason for her detainment, an embezzlement conviction in 2021.
It's been so long. Then it happened that was a mistake. She's been here over 50 plus years. Like, you would think that being a permanent resident is protected.
Now back to the travel warnings to the U.S. We reached out to the Department of Homeland Security.
So even if she is a permanent resident, let's say she brought some medication for herself from her home country in whatever it is, the Philippines or whatever she went to. This is a 50 plus, 60 plus year old woman, been in the United States for 50 years. And they still say something is fishy because in 2021, they stopped her for embezzlement. She was never locked up. She was never convicted. She was just stopped. You can't bring that in here. You can't bring that particular medication in here. Shout out to my brother, Black Nubian, them Canadian brothers. Mm-hmm. Shout out to you.
He said, "Oh, Canada."
And this older woman, they don't care. See, the longer these news headlines come out, more people are gonna be like, there are too many countries in the world to visit. The United States is not all as cracked up to be like, if I don't visit the United States, then I just can't go anywhere. Disney is not just in the United States. SeaWorld is not just in the United States. But Disney in the United States is going to lose a lot of money. SeaWorld in the United States is going to lose a lot of money. United States is not the only place with a zoo. The United States is not the only place in the world with beauty. The United States is not the only place in the world with statues. So people are going to spend their vacation money. It just won't be in the United States. And that's why the United States is going to lose out on $22 billion just this year alone. Not including the World Cup and not including the money they're going to lose out on in the Olympics. Nobody's coming. There was no way in the world I would go to the United States if I wasn't a citizen. There is no event. There's no concert. There's no sporting event. There's nothing that would make me go to the United States right now while Trump and the Trumpanzees are still in office. There is no way. So be it. He said, I'm moving to Wakanda forever.
Oh my God. Say here, you're beginning too nice, Andre. She thought she was Mr. B. What's this?
Miss Big Meech. She thought she was Big Meech. She'd go just walk through. No, it wasn't that. I don't think that was it. And sometimes, you know what? Sometimes we Americans, and I know you're being a little facetious, but sometimes we Americans don't see life from a global perspective because we're so locked in this mental bubble. We put these rose-colored glasses on at birth, and we think everything, it must have been that foreigner's fault because we were born and raised on a plantation known as the United States. And so we think that it's always the foreigner's fault. It's always the foreigner's fault. It's never our government. It's never our fault. We actually believe in ICE, right? Every time I go back home from Colombia, I get detained. Every time. There is not one time I've gone back because I'm gone for so long. So when I do go back, no, I can't say that. The last time for the Black Manosphere Conclave, make sure you guys get your ticket for the Black Manosphere Conclave coming up in September in Miami. The last time was the first time I hadn't been detained. I was already had my mind made up for it. I said, well, they'll probably keep me for about 15, probably 30 minutes like they normally do. Ask me a bunch of questions, check on my cell phone. I'll make them subscribe to our channel, blah, 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 and I'll leave. When I landed in Houston, he stamped my passport. I stood there for a minute because I was so used to being detained that I stood there for a minute. He's like, welcome back to the United States. And right.
I will feel pissed if that happens to me in Colombia. Like, I've declared taxes here. I mean, for real. How could you do that to me?
But you know what? I know how. I understand the corruption of my country, so it doesn't throw me off. Mm-hmm. I expect corruption. Just like you know the corruption of your government, how they may steal money and things like that. You understand it. You're not surprised about it. You don't like it, but you know it. I know the corruption of my own country. I know about. See, Andrea doesn't understand police brutality
No,
because it doesn't
because
happen
I'm
like
not-
it happens.
It's not. I haven't been raised in that scenario, that environment.
Right.
Exactly.
And so she understands the corruption of her country, but I understand the corruption of my country. And so when certain things happen, it doesn't throw me, oh man, why you stop? No. Let's get this over with. Let's get this over with, and that's it.
Passport, thank you so much for your donation.
Shout out to
He said,
Passport.
ICE also been stopping Native American and asked them for their citizenship
Wow.
papers. They have to carry in their tribal papers, but they are not official U.S. papers. But yet they're still Americans, and that's why it's so curious how different we are. Because, for example, in Colombia, we just show our ID or cedula, and that's it. Like, yeah, that's my identification as a Colombian citizen.
You don't have to show a passport. You just show. And Andrea can go to Brazil. Once I get my citizenship,
With
I can
my
do
cedula,
this. She can go to
absolutely.
Brazil with her ID. She can go to Argentina with her ID. She can go to Chile with her
All
ID.
the Mercosur countries.
Yeah.
Chile, Argentina, Bolivia, Ecuador, Peru. What other one?
Suriname, French Suriname, Guyana.
Guyana.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's not any problem.
With just her ID. Once I get my citizenship, I don't need to use my passport, my Colombian passport to get it, or my American passport to get around. All I need to do is show my new cellular. And I can travel all around South America for as long as I want.
The only country that has been banning of that group is Venezuela. Always since I was in college, Venezuela never been part of Mercosur.
Yeah, and what she's mentioning is there's a continent-wide agreement with all these countries.
Agreement, exactly.
You do business with, you could come here and start businesses or buy property. I can come to your country and do businesses. We don't need to have passports between each other. We're on. It's like what Mexico, United States, and Canada should be, but it's not. Like, Canadians should not have to show a passport, but they do. When I was young, all you needed was your ID as a Canadian to come to the United States, and all you needed was your ID as an American. We used to get into Canada with our high school ID. When I was a kid, we used to go, because you could club and party at 17 in Canada. You could drink legally at 17. So we would, as kids, would go to Canada and party straight from Detroit, because it's just a bridge or a tunnel away. And so now, since 9/11, they changed it to a passport, and now things are starting to change on the Mexican border. I kid you not, guys. There's something going on in the United States, man. I kid you not. Think about it. Now they're telling you guys can't even get on an airplane without the correct ID. By May 10th, if you don't have the ID or the driver's license with the star on it, you can't even get on a plane, or you got to have a passport. You got to have a passport to travel in your own country. If you don't have that star on your star identification.
That's the part. I mean, seriously. Like, when here you use inside the country, it's just with the cedula. That's it.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more like a prison.
With your cedula. Always travel with your cedula. Thank you, David. David say, o David en español. David. Andrea, does the new rules affect us, especially me who plans to live in Cali in 5 years, possibly? I mean, I think right now, how everything is rough right now, but I hope with the new president and how Petro leaves, for God's sake, the presidency next year, I hope the next president can do better relationships with the U.S., and we have more, not complications when it comes to Colombian visa for foreigners. But in 5 years, I don't see the issue.
No.
I don't see the issue.
Because right now, guys, we know of guys, and we know of other and guys that know of guys that already had visas in Colombia.
Yeah.
Reapplied. Got rejected. Even though they already had a visa here, life here, they got a girlfriend here, they got an apartment that they rented here, they've been living here for 2 years under their visa, or 1 year under their visa. Reapplied, like they did everything that they need to do, but because of what's going on with the Trump and Trump pansies,
No, in
There are a
Petro.
lot in Petro.
No, I think that the situation here it was Petro and his big ass mouth
Oh yeah, going against Trump.
testing drunk at 3 a.m. because
Yeah.
that's what he does.
Yeah.
And that's why it just make Trump get angry. And I'm not saying in other words, but it's just like, Petro, what the hell are you talking about? That's what
Right.
most of the Colombians were like, what the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, Petro Texas like Trump. So if you ever wonder if you got always sending out tweets, he's
but
the, he's,
Petro
he's
got
that
drunk.
yeah, he's that dude that he like Trump, man. He's always texting out something, sending out some type of
The
tweet or
thing
something.
is, I say, because a lot of people say back in January, a lot of people applaud the idea like, yeah, Petro is defending Colombians, and yeah, we're not his ass to the US, and I say, oh really? But when it comes to travel to Miami, to Disney, to have your kids study in the US, you don't say anything. Or to renew US visa, you don't say anything. So that's what we're doing. And to me, I mean, the worst part, and I was really worried about in that time, that because I know that it's a lot of US embassies that they're going to be removed for a lot of countries in Europe.
Yep.
So I was like, my afraid is that Trump take the decision and say a U.S. embassy in Bogota is gonna be removed.
Because
And we said we got millions of Americans living here, visitors here. How you guys gonna do for a new passport, Andre? How is Andre gonna do for a new passport if an emergency happens? So Petro just BS like a little kid and not be responsible. But he's not talking about the Colombians that we have been treating like BS in Mexico. Like we are criminal. We're not criminal. We're just going to enjoy Cancun or Mexico City, but we have been treated like criminals in Mexico
for years.
So you don't say anything. That's the part that got me the most. And I comment this in any social media. So you're talking about dignity, but what's the dignity of Colombians that we have been? I never felt or I never been personally being, how do you say,
impacted or bothered.
Yeah, by the
when we go to other
Mexicans
countries.
immigration. Never. Why? Because I try with your boy. But if I go by myself, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure they're gonna be put in one of those rooms or jail that they
Detention
have.
rooms.
Exactly.
Yeah. Abraham.
Okay, wait a second.
Yeah, you didn't read that one, babe.
Oh, sorry. sorry, Abraham. They can't stop the roaming of America. The fear of genetic change is real.
And that's what it
If
is.
this is itch, I'm out.
Yep. That's one of the things. Shout out to my man, Professor Max in the building.
I mean,
down there in Mexico.
That's the part that the only agreement that the U.S., Mexico, Canada is the NAFTA agreement. Pretty much money.
Chulupe says,
Dre, don't you need know Spanish to get? Yeah, he
yes,
gotta know
sir.
Spanish.
I gotta master my Spanish. It's part of the test.
It's the test.
Yeah. Well,
Is
basically
the
it's a test, but there's an oral part to where you have to speak
In Espanol.
in Espanol, and you can only miss so many words in the conversation. So now that I have the books done, I was telling Andrea, I'm back to my Pinterest and back to studying, and then I'm doing a lot of networking outside of here. So yeah, it's a must. I already got the test. I already have the actual test itself to study, the study guide and everything for the citizenship. It's over 400 pages. I've got the questions and everything. Not 400 pages, 400 questions. And so I've got the study information and everything. But when it comes to the conversational, I've got to study that. So you must know your Espanol for citizenship.
Professor Max say, I have permanent residency and changed to temporary. Colombian or
Because he was here. Professor was here.
living here.
Yeah, he was living here years ago. Yeah.
To
He
temporary.
was living in Choco.
No.
Oh, that's the funny part. A white dude living in Choco.
Yeah, that happens.
From the
babe.
States.
There's
Does it?
there's a lot of white people that live in Buenaventura.
Is it?
Yeah, boo. There's a lot of people
Wow.
that they're white like me, They're from
No.
Buenaventura.
I'm talking about he's stateside white.
Ah, okay.
That's the part that got me. I was like, Professor don't care. Now he been living in Mexico doing some great work with the fire departments there and get guys certified. So shout out to Professor and all the work that he does in Mexico.
People in America were testing me now how they felt, how good that Colombia was, the only country that stood up to Trump too. I don't see the startup.
Yeah, because he was.
I don't see the startup. I mean, talking about Petro. Petro just like a little chihuahua.
Yeah.
Who just
he didn't stand up. He just
even
was talking.
His own people say he got drunk and
See, if you're here,
at 3 a.m.
Yeah, when you're here and you follow the politics, you get a chance to hear and know what's going on behind the scenes to where you like, what? Yeah.
Anderson, thank you so much. Jay Anderson say, Dre, remember months ago, I explained American government was going to make it harder to travel.
Yes, you did. You said it. You called it. You definitely called it, brother.
Okay, B say, hello guys. I apologize for asking a question off the topic, but does anyone know what happened to Taylor May Dream? I have been out of the loop for a while. He's not posted for a while.
Yeah, he decided to shut his channel down and to just focus on being a dad and living in, he lives in Thailand, but he spends a lot of time in DR with his daughter. His daughter, like he always sends us photos. And his daughter is just so cute, and he just sent us some photos, not even about a month ago. Mm-hmm. And so go ahead. Yeah, she gets grown. And so he's trying to focus on the fatherhood side now, compared to, and so he'll come on somebody's show. You know what? I'm going to invite him on the show. He'll come on somebody's show and celebrate or just have a conversation. But as far as having his own channel, he's kind of like stepping back away from that.
Yeah. B, thank you so much for your donation.
Shout out to B.
Thank you a lot. You guys, there's a lot of Colombian Tenerife. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's not too cold compared to Madrid and all the north of Spain.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're about to go back to the video. We're going to let the video ride for a second, guys. Shout out to all you guys. And if there's any cash apps, I'll read those once we get done watching a little bit more of the video.
Asking what changes have been made to immigration policy, but we've yet to hear back. Steve, Natasha.
Have there ever been travel warnings against the U.S. before? Or is this a first?
No, this is not a first, actually. There's been warnings about gun violence, but nothing of this magnitude. Remember, the Custom and Border agents do have the ability to deny you entry and not tell you why.
Interesting. Very well. All right. Thanks, Jess.
Welcome to Flight 15 to Washington, D.C. We'll begin the board process shortly for families with small children, military, and individuals who require special assistance.
Where is everyone? Travel has dropped significantly in recent months, especially from Canada. Why? When the tariffs were announced, the Prime Minister asked my fellow Canadians to buy domestic products and to travel within the borders.
But people are traveling again. Monthly international visitors was back to pre-pandemic levels in January. Travel injected $1.3 trillion into the U.S. economy just last year.
Sure, but then some European tourists were locked up for weeks. And of course, there's the divisive rhetoric from Trump. In March, visitors from Colombia shrank by 33%, Germany 28%, and Spain 25%. In a big way.
You're a very knowledgeable passenger.
Well, I try to stay relevant. That's why I'm traveling to the U.S. to see the Minecraft movie.
What?
Oh yeah, people are throwing things like chickens at the screen when Jack Black says chicken jockey.
Chicken jockey? So sorry.
The United States may have just ruined your summer vacation after this new warning when you're traveling to this Caribbean country. Just a few days ago, the American government announced a warning when traveling to the Bahamas, and now today, they've issued a level 3 warning when you're traveling to Jamaica. Just this month in January alone, Jamaica has had 65 people unalived. The U.S. Embassy is calling it an advisory level 3 to reconsider travel, which is just one level fall short of the most severe, which warns Americans against traveling altogether. Crimes have become so pervasive that tourists aren't even safe in the shelter of their resorts, the embassy said. Violent things like this, including SA and unalivings, occur frequently, including all-inclusive resorts. Local police often do not respond effectively to these serious incidents, and when arrests are made, cases are infrequently prosecuted to a conclusive sentence. So
before he goes any further, he's saying that, you know, when it comes to tourists, you know, a certain amount of people in Jamaica, just regular people, have been deleted. I really don't like it when we, in our own countries, are hypocritical. Now, I'm just, you know, dude with a microphone. I'm nobody special, but Americans love to talk about the statistical deaths that take place of the locals or tourists in other countries. But we never want to put it up to the comparison of any of our 50 states. We never want to compare Jamaica to the crimes that happen in New York and New Jersey, or the crimes that happen in Carolinas, Florida, and Georgia. We never want to compare. You definitely want to compare it to, if you just compare these countries to the Midwest, Chicago, Indianapolis, Cleveland, and Detroit. Just those cities right there is enough that there's more crime and deletions that take place compared to most countries in the world. If you just took Detroit, Cleveland, Indianapolis, St. Louis, we're gonna keep it in the Midwest, St. Louis, and Chi-Town. Those 4 cities, I didn't even say states, I say 4 cities. We have yet to hear the level of deletions of locals in most countries compared to just 4 cities in the United States. We're hypocritical. All right, Sexaboo.
Yeah, we saw that the kid, Andre, if you heard about the shooting in Florida State,
yeah,
the kid was a cop's son's America is dangerous. Comment section about that news that happens, I think, last week. What nationality was? It was a Venezuelan? Hold for a second. When you ever seen a Latino, especially not being raised in the U.S., doing that in your years?
Ever, never.
You already
Never.
know.
I never heard.
Nobody's gonna do that. That is unfortunately American citizen.
That's an American thing.
And it was just like people are not even surprised.
No.
Okay, wait a second. Here is something funny. It made me laugh. As he said, I wonder that Trump would do if one of the African cardinals is selected to be a pope. We have a heart attack if there is a black pope. What do you think about that? Never asked you that.
I'm not Catholic, and so I kind of stay out of, you know, certain things. I just keep my mouth shut, and I don't think that, because, and the reason why I keep my mouth shut, because my people expect me to automatically say, yeah, let there be a black pope. Okay, if there is one, and what's gonna change?
It's gonna be the same.
Like, is the Bible gonna change? Are miracles gonna stop happening or start happening? Are fundraisers to the Catholic Church gonna stop or continue on? Nothing. It's gonna still be the same. Okay, you're gonna have it's just like we had a black president. Did anything really change? No, you still had to get up in the morning, go to work that same day, all the way through Obama's 8 years. You still had to go to work, right? Same thing with the Pope. You're gonna hear people criticize and cry and blah blah. A black Pope, I can't believe. You're gonna hear that. But as far as anything, I keep my mouth shut about it because A, I'm not Catholic. B, it's not, if God chooses who He chooses, that's who He chooses. If He chooses a Latin dude, so be it. If He chooses like the last Pope was from South America.
Argentina.
Yeah.
Argentino.
So a lot of people don't realize that the last Pope was from South America. So if a pope comes from South Africa, so be it. But it doesn't impact my religious belief, being a Protestant Christian. So I keep my mouth out of other people's business when it comes to something like that. But most black people in the States, because we think everything should be black.
Yeah, I still get it.
Most people would if I say what I just said to you guys, you anti-black, you ain't one of the brothers no more. You done married that Colombiana, you changed. So I keep my mouth shut in certain things because in reality, nothing's gonna change. If you had a black one or another white one, it's just gonna be another pope.
Absolutely. Okay. We got here, for example, this comment to say the difference. This country are small and danger is at your doorstep. Our country is big enough, what you were talking about minutes ago, that you can stay away from cities and their bad parts.
Yep. Our country is big enough to where you can stay away, but we don't. Keep that right there for a second.
Wait a second.
You're absolutely correct. Okay. Our country is large enough for our size, mass. You could be in Wyoming instead of being in Detroit, but you would stay in Detroit. You could be in Colorado instead of Chicago, but you stay in Chicago. Most Americans live on the borders of America. There are very few of us, I think the statistics is like 80+% of Americans live on the border. So Detroit is a border. Chicago is a border. The Seattle, Washington is a border. LA is a border. San Diego is a border. So you go all around the border. Most Americans live on the outskirts of the country. You're correct. We can go to the middle of the country where it's safer in some instances, but we don't. And that's the issue. Why I can use those stats about Detroit, Chicago, St. Louis, and Cleveland. Because y'all ain't going nowhere. Statistics already show. Look, once again, you can look this stat up. American Van Line, the moving company. They do a survey of the United States, where you move and where you don't move every year. 68% of Americans, even if they have the opportunity to live somewhere safer, like you just mentioned, they ain't going nowhere. 68% of Americans are going to die within a 50-mile radius of the hospital in which they were born. So yes, you would think that people would have enough common sense to do what you just stated, but we as Americans, heck no, we gonna stay right where the crimes are, and the cities that have the most crimes don't get smaller. They basically stay the same amount of state, especially if the economy is decent in that country. I mean, in that city, we're not going anywhere. Chicago has a decent economy. No matter how many people get deleted every weekend in Chicago, ain't nobody going nowhere. Same thing in Detroit is making a comeback. Nobody's going anywhere no matter how much crime. Cleveland is making a comeback. The Midwest itself making a comeback. No matter how much crime takes place, people are not going anywhere. 68% of you are going to die. 68% of you are going to die within a 50-mile radius of the hospital in which you were born in. So no matter how much we want this to take place, let's be real with it. Y'all ain't going nowhere, no matter how much crime takes place.
Okay, boo. Wait a second. I can say most Americans don't realize that there is a strategic.
Mm-hmm.
Strategic. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Battle between China, Russia, and the U.S. for the soul of Europe, and who can provide the most natural resources at the lowest cost.
Mm-hmm.
All these things between China. Wow. Ferguson say.
Shout out to HR.
Colombia is a big country. I can fit California and Texas together.
Absolutely
There's
correct.
Plenty of space in Colombia. Absolutely.
That's another myth that people think Colombia is like small as Panama. Colombia is not the size of Brazil, but do realize you can fit the United States with Hawaii and Alaska, in Brazil, to never be seen again in those trees. That's how big Brazil is. So while we think our country is large, Brazil is larger. And at the end of the day, Colombia is still not small. It is the size of Texas. And anybody from Texas, you know that Texas is, you do everything big in Texas because Texas is humongous. And California combined, you can hide both of those states in Colombia, never to be seen again.
Yeah. For a second, let me go to Gregory. Thank you so much.
Shout out to GT Money.
This is the very topic that I spoke about last week. Is why I'm looking to spide my travel plans.
Expedite, yeah.
Expedite, thank you.
I mean, speed up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Learn the map of Colombia, realize how big is the country it is. Absolutely. I'm going to give you an example. The size of this Valle del Cauca state where we're living.
Yeah, that's our state bio.
Is the same size of Switzerland.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Suiza. Yeah, Swiss is very small country. Yeah, can fit perfectly here in Colombia.
Just in our state.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, Colombia is such a huge. That's why I get pissed when I hear and read Colombians saying that there's nothing to offer, that this is a BS country, when they move to other countries and never come back to Colombia. Say you have no idea how much you don't appreciate your own country. You have no idea how many people are retiring, coming back to this country because we have so much to offer.
That's true. True Black Nubian. That's a good point. He said the map is not correct. It has South America small, Africa small, but yet it makes Europe and the United States big, when everybody knows that's not true. Absolutely correct.
Yeah. So say people better start looking and using coming out of Africa. They are changing the game big time.
By 2030, Ethiopia and a bunch of other countries are going to be in some of the top economies in the world. Africa is in the next 10 years, you won't recognize the Africa that we're so used to that we grew up with. There is so much economically that the continent of Africa is doing. They're even trying to come together with a currency and their own version of one type of passport, to where you can actually, like Colombia has. Mm-hmm. You know, what you can just go around with no issues, because even Africans feel like they got so much issues to get into their own, you know, from one country to the next country to the next country. They feel like they've got different issues, to where now behind the scenes, I've even seen the footage of some of the African leaders are coming together to do some great things. And they're starting to, this is how you know Africa is about to change. Because a lot of the leaders are starting to tell the United States, no, in public. No, we're not going to change this United States. No, we're not going to change that United States. No, we're not doing that United States. So to sit back and see all these countries now, for the first time in my lifetime, I've never seen this many countries when America says something and these countries are just saying, no, I'm not doing it. This is the first time I've ever seen this in my lifetime. And so, Ethiopia is doing major work. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Even in the aftermath of their civil war, he said, I lived there for 4 years. Shout out to you, brother. And revisited in 2023. Yes, sir.
Africa could be one of the most richest
continents
in the world, because they have so much things. They have emeralds. They have, I think they have diamonds. If I'm not mistaken, they have oil. They have gold. Like Africa.
All the foods. Yeah.
But, you know, corruption.
So hopefully things change around. Yeah. Let's get back to the videos.
This news, are you guys still planning to travel to the Bahamas or Jamaica, or are these new warnings from the government going to stop you altogether?
Well, here's the list of the new travel ban. The red countries, the orange countries, the yellow countries. These are the countries that Trump put together a travel ban. This is the crazy part. Many of these countries are in the World Cup.
Yeah.
Many of these countries are in the World Cup, but you put a travel ban on them.
Yeah.
Many of these countries are going to be in the Olympics, but you put a travel ban on it. You know how much money is going to be lost during the Trump administration? You guys, man, listen. I mentioned something to Andrea yesterday before we go back into that list. I was watching TikTok. You know how TikTok is on late at night, and then you have people just join the panels. There was a panel that I came across on TikTok late at night. It was black guys, white guys, women. It was just everybody there, right? Probably like 7 to 10 people. It was amazing me how much stuff that Americans didn't know that they didn't know what they were talking about. I'm sitting in the comment section, and they were like, "Well, China, they own a large chunk of our national debt." And one guy said no, and I put in the comment section, "Well, the number one person for our national debt is Japan." And so they had to Google all night long. I noticed that they were just Googling everything. I mean, it would amaze me so much that Americans didn't know. They were like, "Well, when it comes to the tariffs, it's going to impact China more than us." And I was like, "Well, I say tariffs are a tax on the buyer, not the seller. It impacts the seller because you're not buying as much. So you don't buy as many products because it's so expensive with a tariff. But the actual tariff is on the bot." Perfect example. I mentioned this to you guys before. When this Love Crossing Borders light came in from China, I had to pay a tariff. It was like $75, right? The light was like $400, and the tariff was like plus delivery was $7,500. $75. I was the buyer. Now, if I was to sell that light to Andrea, I would put my tariff cost, including the regular price, and I would sell it to Andrea for $475 to get my $75 back and recoup my $400 for the light, right? That's what a tariff is. But it was amazing to me that Americans didn't know, and dudes tried to argue me down in the comment section. "No, that's not what it is. Tariffs are going to destroy the other country. It doesn't impact us."
No, it makes a lot of sense. If you buy this from Peru, I'm buying this from Peru, I need to pay the tariffs.
Right.
Because I'm the one who's going to have benefit from this product.
Also, another thing that they said on the panel, like I said, I'm in the background. I'm just kind of like watching the TikTok video last night, and they were like, they said, "Well, the only thing that we get from Japan is electronics. As far as get from China are electronics and computers. So as long as we don't get our computers and our cell phones, we're good. We don't need China."
We need China. Tell you why? If you guys come in here and Vélez is a big leather store. They sell wallets, they sell everything with make a leather.
Right.
Clothes, all of that. Vélez, all the products are manufacturing in China.
Yeah.
A lot of brands here, how to say the product manufacturing?
Yeah, product manufacturing.
Thank you. In China. So we, as a Colombians, we depend on China too.
True.
So all the things that you see in Centro, in Medellin, or in Cartagena, you go into those centros and got sneakers and got makeup and got even makeup stores, Colombian makeup stores. Even my makeup is manufacturing in China. All the high quality ingredients, but manufacturing in China.
The other thing that I mentioned in the comment section last night was, you do know over 90% of American medication is produced in China. I'll say that again, over 90% of American medication, your grandmother's diabetic pills, or diabetes or insulin shots, the insulin for her shots, high blood pressure pills, Most of our, just from Excedrin to Tylenol, is produced in China. A survey said this: if China just cut off medication, just medication, to the United States, we only have a 6-month supply for all of our hospitals, all of our clinics, and all of our pharmacies in the United States. That's how much we depend on China.
We depend on China. We depend on China for real. It's most of the things we depend on China.
Yeah.
A lot of people depend on China.
There's
Survey.
a question I think somebody had.
Yeah, babe. Wait a second.
There we go. T-Mac.
Okay. It said, Dre, we know more about Cali. I like the Hilton in Santa Marta. It's outside of the topic, or some Airbnbs in the Rodadero area. Just make sure it says hot water.
Are you asking us? You say, Dre, would you know more? So you know more about Cali. He said, I like the Hilton in Santa Marta.
Santa Marta, yes. Business holders or Americans. Yeah, I don't understand if he's saying affirmative or he question. Designer items are mostly made in China, but design is in Europe. Absolutely,
True.
like Michael Kors. Michael Kors is, I think, it's an American brand, but they manufacture all the bags in China and in China and Vietnam. Absolutely. Yeah, that's the problem. We need to produce. Okay, we need to produce our own stuff. Yeah, but how much is gonna cost for you?
That's it. You think medicine is expensive now with pharmaceutical companies? Just imagine if they had to. Let's be real. Any product, I don't care if this book had to be produced in the United States. I don't care if glasses. I don't care if it's Tic Tacs had to be produced in the United States. We know us as American citizens. What do we want? Two things when it comes to manufacturing. Let's be honest. Let's be real. All you Detroiters.
You better back the fuck up out my face, goddammit. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. Don't play with me.
You know what I'm about to say. We want that money as far as our wages and salaries. We don't get paid what everybody else get paid. We get paid. If you work for Chrysler, Ford, or GM in Detroit, you know what I'm talking about. And we want unions. If you're manufacturing in the United States, we want unions because unions are going to get us paid. Whereas another manufacturing company might pay $35 an hour to do that. With a union company, you're going to get $55 an hour in order to do that, or $45 an hour. Shout out to all you truck driver dudes. You know what I'm talking about. All you railroad dudes that are in unions. You know what I'm talking about. The union costs in the salary is going to be so expensive that your iPhone, just your iPhone, will be at least $3,500 for an iPhone. At least $3,500 for an iPhone. Your computers, or you might as well expect your computers to go up at least another $1,000. Yeah, from $1,500 or $2,000. It's going to be $3,000, $4,000 to buy a computer literally produced in the United States. But this is the other thing. Don't forget your thought, babe. The other thing is Americans forget, since manufacturing left the United States in the early 2000s, what's replaced manufacturing in most countries? The robotics. So even if manufacturing come back to the United States and they don't use unions, you won't be getting any jobs like that, because robots, anybody that works for Chrysler, Ford, and GM, you know, robots do at least a huge chunk of the jobs now. Andre and I were just watching a robot expo yesterday. Did you know that BMW has just signed, BMW and Audi has just signed a contract to have their cars produced 100% by robots. They've just signed a contract with the company that produces and create the robotics. So BMW and Audi have said, we don't need people. Our robots can work 24 hours a day without a lunch break. We don't have to have unions. We don't have to have them worry about them having to go to the bathroom or getting sick. We just got to keep up on the maintenance. Pay for the robot one time and we're good. So when Americans sit back and make this false narrative, I need you guys to really start analyzing the situation. Americans always put these rose-colored glasses. I did it. That's why I'm so passionate about it, because I used to do that when I was in the States. Well, why don't we do this? Or why don't we do that? Or we could do this and do that. No, it's not feasible. We don't even have the infrastructure to keep up with China. I'll say that again. We don't have a location where we could just do massive building of roads and freeways and highways. We don't even have that. Our roads and freeways that we have now are falling apart without factories there. Our bridges are always collapsing. We don't have the infrastructure. And I don't know why Americans don't realize that. We are literally at the mercy of all the countries that produce products for us. We like to brag about having money, but that's what we did with our money. We create and put ourselves in a situation where we need to have. Shout out to Andrea. We're working with the water bottles. Thank you, babe. To where we need other countries. I told Andrea, here's a bit of trivia, guys. Let me get that off camera.
Okay.
Here's a bit of trivia before we go back to the video. What country, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, what country in South America had the number one producer of oil in the world is America. I don't know if you guys realize this. United States produces and sells more oil than any other country in the world. Nobody's even close. Not the Middle East, not South America. It's the United States. Okay. Mm-hmm. What country in South America had a lock hold on oil sales? The world's largest oil reserve. Billions of dollars flowing everywhere. Yet didn't take the time out to create an infrastructure for manufacturing its own products. And because it didn't, this is in South America, because it didn't take those billions and trillions of dollars that it was making off of oil, what happened to that country? Because it didn't create an infrastructure, it didn't have its own manufacturing, it wasn't producing its own foods, it wasn't making anything for itself. What country was it that collapsed right around 2014 was the beginning of its own collapse, its own demise, even though it had all the oil, even though it had all the money? Somebody already put it in there.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys already know.
Venezuela. Venezuela is nothing but a smaller version of the United States. I'm not saying what happened to Venezuela, because they also had corrupt government, but don't we too? Not to Venezuela's extent, but to our own extent. And I'm not coming against Venezuela, and I'm not coming against the United States. But what I'm saying is, it's not coincidental that that country it had billions and trillions of dollars. It had the world's largest oil reserve. And that country collapsed to where it broke the record for the highest inflation in the history of the world. 13,000% inflation, and you can look it up.
Absolutely. In 2016, Venezuela was like, right now they're a little better, expensive, because now they're selling all the products in dollars. Mm-hmm. But back in the day, you guys.
Right, Amos. Right, you got right, Andrew. Venezuela.
Colombia, here just around the corner, there was a lot of camps of Venezuelans.
When I moved here.
Yeah, right at that time. The bus terminal in every city, Bogota, Medellin,
full of
Venezuelans, full full of Venezuelan people living in the parks.
Under the bridges.
Absolutely. Guys, it was a whole thing was going on in Colombia back in the day. And even though the Venezuela, let's say that this is a video over there from Luisito Comunica, that was he blow up in 2016 because he went to Venezuela, he got robbed, and he went to I remember that he went to 2 millions of followers.
Oh, you're talking about the Mexican YouTuber?
Subscribers on YouTube, because that video, he went to Venezuela to report the situation, and even let's say that this is what's the cereal with the tiger?
Tony the Tiger, Frosted Flakes.
Yeah, Venezuela, they didn't even have the money to print the box full of colors. So the box of the cereal, it was black and white or gray. That was the situation in Venezuela back in the day. It was people, hundreds of people doing lines and lines to get food because they couldn't afford food over there. I remember toothpaste, let's say this is a toothpaste, you can just afford 2, not 3, 4, no, just 2 per person. So Venezuela back in the day, yeah, it was terrible.
Even when Ace went, shout out to you, Ken. Yeah, even when Ace Live went over there, it was
back in the day. Oh my God, like around 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Absolutely, cows.
It was crazy.
Absolutely.
So when Americans think that can't happen to a superpower, that can't happen to a country with trillions of dollars, that can't happen to a country that is a oil producing country. You can produce all the oil, United States, but if you're not producing products that will protect or take care of your people, if anything happens, you're at the mercy, like Venezuela. That's what my point was. Venezuela put themselves in a position because they had all the money and all the oil. They put themselves in an economic position to where they had to depend on Colombia and other countries to provide them food, rice, water, whatever it was. Not water, but whatever it was as far as they needed, medication. I mean, I was hearing stories about Venezuelans were actually eating the animals in the zoo. So it was bad. And when I got here, like I said, Andrea, I remember one time we was in a taxi and Andrea was pointing to all the Venezuelans sleeping all over in the park.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we drive under a bridge, Venezuelans, I mean, I talk about hundreds of people. Venezuelans used to pay small hotels to sleep in the hallways. If I give you a certain amount of money, would you allow me to sleep in the hallways? When I first came here, every time you turn around, a Venezuelan would have a stack of Venezuelan dollars, mm-hmm. and they would try to sell it to you just for a couple of Colombian coins. Just think about a stack of USD, mm-hmm. and somebody's trying to sell a stack of USD just for a couple coins. Please, a couple coins.
Yeah, that was.
So don't tell me. So when Americans be trying to talk all prideful, that can't happen. I'm like, dude, I saw it happen with the oil-rich trillion-dollar country that didn't produce their own. That's what America's problem is. We don't produce our own medication. We don't produce our own electronics. We barely produce our own foods. There are very few foods that we produce on our own. That's why America is so focused on creating fake foods now. If they can create enough fake foods and get you to eat it, they feel like they won't need to import real food. Yeah.
Guess what's going to happen in 10, 20 years in the U.S.? The cancer
rate
number
going to rise because
colon,
of the fake
stomach, food. All those cancers.
That near meat.
Absolutely. We got a lot of comments here.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a second. Here we got this one. It say, you can read it, please.
He said, Andre, also keep in mind that Venezuela is under heavy embargo. This is true. This is definitely true. He said being sanctioned to death by Europe and the United States. This is true. Similar to Iran and keeping out British petroleum companies. This is true. But the collapse of Venezuela happened before the embargoes and everything took place. That's what the problem was. A lot of those embargoes happened not because of, the collapse didn't happen because of the embargoes and the restrictions. The collapse took place because Venezuela was not a self-sustaining country. It didn't take those trillions and create an infrastructure. I'll give you a perfect example of the opposite. All you got to do is go back about 30 years, not even that long, to China. I was watching videos of most parts of China in the 80s, parts of Japan. You guys need to go back and look at videos or photos of Japan and China in the 90s, in the 80s, in the 70s. This was in our lifetime. Now look at what they've done with their infrastructure in our lifetime. In the 80s, you would go to China, you still think it was World War II, World War I. You go to Japan, you still think they was rebuilding from Hiroshima and Nagasaki. you would actually think you were still rebuilding from that. Now look at these countries. They are so far ahead of us in technology, in education, in advancement. And here's the crazy part. A lot of their technological ingenuity they got from us. So instead of us using our trillions to build infrastructure, we were too busy buying purses. We were too busy paying basketball players and football players. We were too busy building NFL stadiums. Instead of building infrastructures to where we can have our own businesses and people will have to come to the United States if they want to purchase something.
Yeah, but
what China did, they took the money and said, we're not going to build a bunch of sports figures. And no, we're not going to have $20,000 purses in this country. We're going to build this country. And Japan said, well, if y'all going to build, let us build. And then Vietnam said, if y'all building, let us build. And then Malaysia said, if y'all building, we might as well go ahead and build. And then Singapore said, well, if all of y'all building, we might as well go ahead and build an infrastructure. So it's amazing how all of Southeast Asia has amazing buildings, amazing train system, amazing infrastructure with American know-how and technology. That's the part. It wasn't like they kept it something secret and they discovered a new theory or something. No, they went to America, went to Silicon Valley, took all that knowledge that they acquired from Silicon Valley and took it straight to their countries, graduated from our schools. Instead of us using it wisely, we were too busy buying BMWs trying to showboat for each other. America is a corporation and a consumer country. It is a country where you go to make business or get a good job or career, and then it's a country where you go to spend. That's it. Americans are not taught in masses how to invest for the future.
Yeah. But all this war started with Chavez. When he did the same thing that Fidel Castro did back in the day in 1960 in Cuba. Chavez did the same thing. That's why Venezuela started to go to the hell back in the day. That's why they closed so many Venevisión. It was funny because we got Colombians, we have really good memories with Venezuelans channels back in the day. We used to watch so many novelas and all of that. And it's just like now they don't exist anymore. And it's really sad what happens to Venezuela, because even my grandpa in the 70s used to go, a lot of Colombians in the 70s went to Venezuela because el Bolívar, el peso, el Bolívar, pues, have a lot of, how to say, babe? It was like, it was well worth it to make Bolívares.
It was valuable. The Venezuelan,
exactly.
The Venezuelan
so my grandpa
money.
used to, even my auntie, the one who lived in Spain, she moved to Venezuela just for a few months and made Bolívares and back to Colombia and have enough money. But that was back in the day. Look what happens after that. The country with the most higher inflation around the world.
So now we got Venezuelan dollars sitting around here, and
that's how
just
it's
like souvenirs.
That's why I'm sorry. Chavez started like that, fighting with the United States and everything, and close all the businesses from the United States, and that's the same thing that we not agree with Petro, because Petro is really good friend of Maduro, the president of Venezuela right now. So we're like, no, we don't want to Colombia go to the same way like Venezuela. That will be that's a completely no for us. I think we got
shout out to my man Brooklyn in the building.
Thank
Brooklyn
you so
Tales.
much. He said the last shall be first. The first shall be last. China now has ATMs to convert gold to fiat.
Fiat.
Fiat. No, we said fiat? No, we said fiat. Sorry. Okay, back to the video.
All right. We'll let this ride for a little while, let you guys enjoy the video. I know we keep stopping, but once again, this is the list of countries that are the no-goes that Trump created over the last few weeks. So we got Afghanistan, we've got Cuba on that list, we got Iran, Iraq, we got Bhutan, we've got North Korea,
Somalia, Sudan.
Sudan, Syria, Venezuela is in the top 10, and Yemen is over there. Then you got all on the yellow. You got certain countries. You got Island of Dominica. You got Ecuador, New Guinea. Ecuador, for you guys that don't know, Ecuador, New Guinea is the only Spanish-speaking country in Africa. They are a Spanish-speaking, predominantly country in Africa. Ecuador, New Guinea. What are they doing on the list? St. Kitts, St. Lucia. These are havens where Americans are going to get passports. A lot of these islands. Why are they putting yellow on the list? The Republic of Congo. I know Congo is going through its wars, but it's not warring with the United States. So why would I don't know. I'm not in government, so I'm not going to guesstimate. Zimbabwe is on here on the list. South Sudan is in the orange. So a lot of Africa is on here. I noticed that Haiti is on there. Wow. Let's go. Let's continue on.
The World Cup in the United States just ran into a major problem. Check this out.
Many congratulations to the Islamic Republic of Iran for brilliantly qualifying to the FIFA World Cup 26 in the United States, Mexico, and Canada. A great achievement for Iran, a football-loving.
Now I know what you're thinking. He's just congratulating them for qualifying. What's the problem? Let me show you. Yeah, they're currently banned from entering one of the host nations. So either they find a way that they only play games in Canada or Mexico, but if they advance into the knockout round, all those games are in the United States. I don't know what FIFA's gonna do, but yeah, this should be interesting to watch. Well, congratulations to Iran.
So no one's coming to America anymore, and we might end up losing the World Cup and the Olympics. Right? Tourism fell by 12% last month. That's the most since COVID. But then more specifically, tourism from Germany and Denmark falling by over 30%. It's down by over 25% for Spain, Norway, Ireland, and Austria. Australia and France are down by 7%. And then on top of that, air travel from Canada, it's down over 75% from last year, in addition to a 32% reduction in car travel from Canada. With us even seeing the founder of Kayak having a lot to say about this, saying, quote, in just 2 months, Trump has destroyed the reputation of the U.S., shown one way by diminished travel from the EU to the US, and saying this is not only one more terrible blow to the US economy, it also represents reputation damage that could take generations to repair. Additionally, another booking site found that 40% of Europeans have canceled their trips to America. And, Trump's policy of randomly detaining tourists and sending them to random prisons or deporting them immediately upon arrival, it's bringing a complete halt to tourism, according to travel companies. And this as there are now growing concerns about the U.S.'s ability to host the Ryder Cup in 2025, the World Cup in 2026, and the Olympics in 2028. Right, globally, people are asking a lot of questions. Are players and fans going to be safe? Can the safety of the Iranian or Venezuelan teams be guaranteed? And that, as others are remarking, that no one's going to be able to go given the possibility of being sent to a prison in El Salvador. Now, that said, FIFA has been downplaying the situation, with one official saying, time's on our side with that. I understand the policies of the administration, but I'm confident that once we get to the point where we need to get to, 16 months from now, we'll be fine. But for now, follow to stay in the loop.
Are we excited for a boat tour?
Tough to get too excited with winter-like temperatures in April, yet some tourists continue to take in the sights of Chicago, especially a riverview glimpse of the city's world-famous architecture.
This building needs no introduction.
As shoreline sightseeing tours pass the Trump Tower, the president's glaring name on the building is a reminder to the tourism industry how Trump's policies on tariffs and souring relationship with neighbors Canada and Mexico are affecting their foreign visitor business.
I don't think we've seen enough just yet to know, how much this is affecting us right now.
Shoreline's marketing director Bridget Carlson says Canada is the company's largest foreign visitor. According to latest numbers from Chicago's marketing organization, Choose Chicago, close to 2 million foreign visitors took in Chicago's sites in 2023, over 450,000 from Canada.
International travel is huge for Chicago. For so many of our partners rely on all sorts of visitors, especially global visitors. They come longer, they stay longer, they spend more money.
But Canadians are getting cold feet.
This is the time that we were supposed to get a lot of bookings for spring and fall and summer as well. Unfortunately, it's like COVID all over again, and all the bookings have complete.
Donald Trump is ruining the 2026 FIFA World Cup for all fans around the world. With 468 days to go, FIFA is becoming increasingly concerned that the U.S. will simply fumble this tournament. This is where we currently stand. Many countries are still not processing visas fast enough to allow their fans to come to the U.S. State Department employees are concerned about DOJ continuing to destroy the State Department and of Trump's anti-immigration policies, which we're still waiting on those travel bans that he has promised he will push for. All that love that Infantino was giving Trump during the inauguration and weeks after seems to have resulted in absolutely no benefits for FIFA. They haven't even been able to meet with Secretary of State Marco Rubio to discuss preparations for 2026, which comes on top of what the U.S. Travel Association is saying about the U.S. not being ready to host this tournament. And before you start saying, oh, awesome, no foreign fans are going to come here, I'm going to be able to get more tickets and cheaper. No. I mean, think about it. What incentive does FIFA have in order to provide cheaper tickets for Americans if they no longer have to keep those prices low for the fans coming from the global south? If anything, they're going to use that as leverage to tell Trump, you know what? You screwed up our tournament, and we're going to charge your people higher prices and make those stadiums empty, which is something that Trump does not want, but he's going to end up getting in the process.
Donald Trump and Elon Musk are about to ruin the 2026 World Cup. The Athletic are reporting that fans around the world set to be refused entry for the 2026 World Cup, despite having tickets to the tournament. The US are set to co-host the tournament in just 15 months' time, and there's fears from US government officials that visas won't be processed in time due to long waits. Wait times.
Could you imagine having a World Cup ticket? It only happens every 4 years.
So how is gonna do the? This is a question that got me just right now. How is gonna do the soccer players, Europeans, that they have been visiting the families, parents, or back to Ghana and all African countries, and go to the U.S. Because that's a true reality, like it or not. Most of the soccer players from Europe, from UK, they have roots. They got the African roots, and
so
they
go
go
back home to their families.
Exactly, visit Cambodia, visit back to
Congo.
Africa, El Congo.
So what are you going to do with those players? You're going to tell these players they can't,
again.
Even though, let's say they play for France, but they're originally from the Congo. They've been going to see their families, or from Cameroon, or from we saw on the list.
Congo, República de Congo, Mali.
Yeah, Zimbabwe was on the list.
Absolutely.
So what are you going to say? This person,
well,
he can't come in. Why? Because he's got Congo on here.
Yeah, I think
but he's on a French team. Yeah, but he went back and forth to the Congo
Even
all
like-
this year, so
Exactly.
he can't come. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Like,
United States got
I-
less than 15, 14 months to get this in order. And notice that the guy just said that Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, hasn't even held a meeting with FIFA. Haven't held a meeting with them to see how they're going to get this taken care of. The part that's getting me is, why is FIFA stalling? I would tell United States, like, listen, we are not going to lose out on billions of dollars because you want to be us around. Canada, we need to talk to you. I would move the World Cup to Canada so fast.
Look at this comment for Teray. He say those countries in Africa in yellow has resources that the U.S. wants in a major way.
Correct.
Land that the U.S. wants to set military bases in.
Yep.
This is another one that is really interesting. Where I read, let me see if I can. Okay, there we go. It's a lot of countries in the yellow list is because of travel information sharing issue and selling passport to, what's that, adversaries?
Adversaries.
Okay, adversaries to the U.S.
Could be. I agree with you. Definitely, I agree with you. Let's continue on.
So visa appointments at US embassies are sky high, with the US embassy in Colombia set to have a 700-day wait time. State Department employees feared that due to Elon Musk's Doge cuts and Donald Trump's stance on immigration, that wait times will only get longer and approval rates for football fans will go down. The Qatar,
for people that are trying to get a visa to come to the United States from Colombia, you got you some tickets for the World Cup. It's going to take you 700 days wait time to see if you're going to get approved.
World Cup actually allowed fans to expedite their visa process to get into the country, and they produced a pass for valid ticket holders that essentially doubled up as another visa. The US, however, have declined to use a similar program from FIFA. The US have also declined to use a Schengen-style pass, which would allow for traveling fans that have tickets to travel freely between the US, Canada, and Mexico. The US don't want any of that, basically. Will Donald Trump and Elon Musk sort this problem out before the World Cup? Or are the likes of Kylian Mbappe, Jude Bellingham, Vinicius Jr. going to be playing in front of empty stadiums?
Look at that. We got 12 African countries. Now we're going to be looking at when it comes to America, always talking about the land of the free and peace and military. Let's talk about the peace index. This is of 2024. And she's going to talk about 12 African countries that are safer than the United States. Ghana's on there.
Botswana, Salone.
So the Global Peace Index results for 2024 are in, and they rank countries.
Now, the World Peace Index is, let me let her go ahead and explain it.
Based on a number of elements that give them a score of peace in comparison to other countries. I find this shit fascinating. So take a look at the top 20. Iceland, Ireland, Austria, New Zealand, Singapore,
Japan,
Switzerland, Portugal. Spain is 23rd. Kuwait is 25th. The United States is number 132.
132.
This is as of 2024, guys. United States is 142. United States want to talk about is more peaceful than Colombia, but not that much. I looked up Colombia. Now mind you, this is out of 168 countries. Colombia was number, if I'm not mistaken, 156. So United States is 132. Colombia is no better at 156. But if you let American citizens talk, you think that America was number 12. The way that y'all talk about South America, the way y'all talk down in Brazil, the way the Americans talk about Colombia.
It's so scary.
The way they talk.
Don't go over there.
You would think the United States was like number 12. United States ain't even in the top 100, Zeta. At least low in the top 50. We understand with Colombia being at 156, okay, of 168 countries. Okay, we understand that. But United States right down here in the dirt with us. What's that, 132? She said 132, 138. That's your country where you try to act like it's so peaceful. Colombia is so dangerous. Oh, I ain't going to Brazil. It's dangerous. I wouldn't go to Ecuador. It's dangerous. Panama, dangerous. Haiti, dangerous. Y'all always talk about somebody else's country dangerous. Cuba is higher than the United States. Iran, Iraq, Afghanistan. That's the crazy part.
Iran, Iraq.
Iran, Iraq. Let me let you read that.
People, here's one issue no one is addressing. Due to the terrorist and immigration issues, what about the safety of Americans overseas? Will people take their anger out of them?
No.
Okay, on them.
No. And I'll tell you why. Most people that I've come across and I've spoken to, you guys can attest to this because you guys travel to just as many countries as we do. Most people are not upset at Americans as far as individual citizens. Most people are upset with America, the country's political behavior. I've never had anybody in Colombia walk up to me in any other country that we've gone to, walk up to me with any type of malice because I was American as an individual. Long as I was respectful, they respected me.
Yeah.
Nobody walked up to Andrea, no matter what country we've gone to, and said, you know what? She's Colombian. We shouldn't trust her. Or they're all about the pay for play. Andrea doesn't get treated like that in other countries.
Never.
So as a whole, people might say or see things, but as individuals, no, I've never had an issue. And many of you guys can attest all the places that you've gone to. He said, I'd take my chances in the Middle East. Seriously. Like you guys have gone to Dubai, you've gone to Turkey. Nobody was sitting around saying, oh man, you shouldn't be here. You're American. No. What Americans aren't, this is the part that that Americans aren't ready for. Americans don't care nothing about the fact that, is it dangerous? You know what, y'all, let's be honest, Americans. You see I sat up. We are upset because don't nobody want to worship us anymore. Remember the days when we used to travel? Oh, you're American? Tell me about your country. Nobody's worshiping us no more. And that's what Americans are uncomfortable with. That's what Americans are uncomfortable with. Not just it's unsafe for Americans. No. Are people still worshiping us there? No. Nobody's worshiping the red, white, and blue like they used to when we first started traveling back in the day. Some of you dudes back in the 90s were traveling. Some of you dudes that were military and you were traveling in 2000. Nobody's worshiping us no more, and that's what we're afraid of. We don't know what it's like to travel without somebody bowing the knee to the king. Bow the knee. You in somebody else's country, but you want them to speak English. You in somebody else's country, but you want them to make hamburgers the way your hamburgers are made. You're in somebody else's country, and you want some barbecue on those ribs, on that pork rib. Don't nobody care about what we got to say anymore. And I love it. I love the fact when I go to other countries, they enjoy me as a person. They see me as an American first. Then they then they talk about race and everything. But at the end of the day, they see me most of all as an individual. So I don't have to walk around like, wait a minute, I'm an American and you should I don't have to do that anymore.
You're like, what?
Yeah. Nobody cares about us as Americans. I was just looking at a survey the other day, and I was looking at the comment section when it came to Colombians. Most Colombians are just like most Americans. They will marry and have kids by their own. That just blows Americans. What do you mean? Colombians don't want us? No, most Colombian women want to marry a man from their home country. Ask most American women. They want to marry a man from their home country. Ask most Canadian women. They want to marry. But the fact that somebody in another country don't want to just bow the knee to us Americans, it just blows us away. That's what Americans are worried about. That when you go to another country, don't nobody worship you no more. It's over. And I mean over. If anything, when you go to another country now, they're gonna say, so how you handling Trump? Y'all all right over there? You need some aspirins? You need a back massage, American? I know it's stressful to be in your country. Social media has put all of our business out there. So everybody knows our good and everybody knows our bad. And nobody's worshiping us anymore.
You know, what is the time that you guys lost their respect, especially in Colombia?
Mm-hmm.
Because
I'm sorry, baby.
Because all these cases about Americans deleted Colombian girls.
That
is the, how do you say it?
The like we say, the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah,
just a little straw.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
that's why a lot of people don't trust you guys.
When Americans came over here, start beating on Colombians, started deleting Colombian women. Yes.
And another thing.
Yes.
The mass shootings. Colombians, a lot of Colombians say, yeah, something's going on in the States that you guys having a big problem.
Good point. If they look at it like, if you will delete each other and you will walk into schools and delete your kids, what are you going to do in our country? And you don't even know us. Do you blame other countries for looking at us like that? Let's be real. We think that when somebody get deleted, or when somebody walks into somebody's school, or when somebody goes to a parade and delete a bunch of people, or somebody delete somebody in the club, we Americans, we're so naive that we think that we were the only news outlets that covered it. So we have our sorrow in our home country, and we think that we're the only. No, when we delete somebody, that Andrea was the one that told me what was going on in that college a couple weeks ago. When you guys say, "Hey, Dre, did you know about the shooting in South Florida University? I mean, in Florida State University." I didn't know. Andrea brought it up. Why? Because the news reaches by way of social media, as well as mainstream media in other countries. So now we come to these other countries after we've been putting hot balls in each other. What do you think Colombian women gonna think of us? Let's even bring it in closer, gentlemen. Do you think Andrea's family and Andrea trusted me the first moments Andrea saw me? And then the first time we went out on a date, Andrea just let all her guards down and said he's the one? Did you think that there to this day people that don't call Andrea crazy, not for marrying a black man, for marrying an American?
An American.
There are people that tell my wife to this day, so you couldn't marry a black Colombian?
Even black Colombians, they feel offended because
she married a black.
No, and Colombians got married with a black American. Like, you think that they are better. That's why you marry these Jews.
So if a Afro-Colombian marries a black man from Colombia, or the opposite, Colombians look at it like, so you married a brother, thank you, sister, but you could have married a brother from here.
Exactly.
See, y'all don't think about all that we kind of like break down to y'all, because nobody ever talks about it. That's why we love the fact that y'all watch Love Crossing Borders, because we try to give you guys the behind the scenes of how the everyday person thinks. Yeah, dude, being American was not a plus for me. It's not a plus for you. You've been tricked on the plantation to think that. But the truth is, just like you don't trust Colombians, don't worry about it. They don't trust you either, bro. A good Colombian woman, I'm gonna tell you this, and you can take this to the bank. A good Colombian woman is not gonna trust you immediately. She might like you immediately. She might hang out with you immediately. But trusting a good one that ain't a party girl, that ain't a good Colombian woman is not gonna go into your Airbnb the first night.
No.
Like them pay for play dudes. I mean, play girls do.
Actually, I never heard an American say that the girl that you met, not say on Tinder, just in, let's say then in the store, stay with you at the first night in your Airbnb.
You
never hear that. I mean, if you guys heard those stories, let us know. But me, I never heard those stories. They're always the pay for play girls. They rub your ass, and the worst thing, delete.
I've never heard you guys tell a story of you went out to you were out and about in the mall. You met a young lady. She was really nice. Y'all got along. Y'all had some dinner and everything. And the first night, that female you met in the mall had her legs open in your Airbnb. I have never heard of that one. And if it has happened, it's so rare that she probably was a party girl, scammer, beautiful bottom feeder. So at the end of the day, guys, a lot of stuff that we think that we automatically assume as Americans, that everybody looking at us like, ooh, look at them. Only poor people in the world look at America like that now.
No, and that's why, you guys, I'm not even surprised why Cancillería de Colombia are asking for your FBI background check. They want to make sure that you got a clean record.
Yep. It's just so much now.
Yeah.
So much now.
Yeah. Why? Because we have so many cases here, especially white people deleting Colombians.
Or you got a record, and they're not checking out to see if you ever did a crime, because I wouldn't be here. What they're checking out is, have you ever did a violent crime, or have you ever did an international crime, or have you ever did a crime towards a minor
or child? How do you say?
A minor.
Yeah, and not just, I'm not gonna say only Americans. Here they got, in Cartagena especially, they got cases of Europeans.
Mm-hmm.
Guys that they are 70 and come here to have intimacy with minors. Yeah. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely correct, Ken. We are not the prize. Not like America sells it to you. And it just blows you guys away. It blew me away. I thought I was gonna come to these countries and I'm the prize. Come to find out that the prize, America being the prize, those days were done. And so it's kind of funny. This is the first time you guys are hearing about what Andrea goes through, not because she married a black man. I'm gonna say this again, because in America, she goes through it for marrying a black man. In another country, in Colombia, she goes through it for marrying a black man from America. You marry one of them, as violent as they are, they always got guns. They always delete their kids in school. They always self-delete themselves. They got bombs. They got unhealthy food. You married one of them. If he ever gets mad at you one day, he'll delete you like they did that girl over at the. You married one of them. Andrea has been going through that for 6 years. But you guys think that off camera, that everybody's looking at us like, oh, wow. That's not true. Now, we're not saying we're getting attacked everywhere we go, but what we are saying is that there are some Colombians that they're like, I couldn't have did it. Some good Colombian women like, there's no way I could have married American. No, girl. You bigger woman than me. They crazy.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people, they don't respect you guys.
No. And that's why they use you, because the level of that respect, like you just said, that era of must respect the Americans. No, now I must trick the Americans into thinking they get respect so I can rob them, so I can hustle them. So I'll let Americans think that, oh wow,
it's just an easy target. It's just an easy. Why I said this? Because I saw so many videos of Hobbyland. Is that right? Hobbyland. That's the channel. Of the girls that you guys meet, those Tinder apps, the hood girls on tennis and shorts. What the hell you were thinking? For real. You don't even meet a professional woman on heels with a suit on, or a decent or beautiful dress, or a blazer on it. No. Meet hood girls.
Hood girls.
That's what you got your ass.
Rob or delete it. Mess with the hood chicks. If anything, guys, and I kid you not, before we go back to the video, and we're going to go to Zeta in a second. And I've said this before, one of the first things that attracted me to Andrea was that she did say no when we first got together. We first don't think that because we're going on this date and we've had a good time today that I'm sleeping with you. I was like, who is this? True story. I'm thinking to myself, who is this woman that dared to defy Andre Spence? Who is this woman to dare say no to me on the first night?
There's only
you see what I'm saying?
First time.
That's what that helped her stand out from any other woman, was the fact that she. Then I found out that that's the norm among the good women in Colombia. They are not going to sleep with you the first night. And the ones that you meet in the mall, you get her phone number, y'all might go out that night. She's a good one. You ain't met no one in the mall just walking down the street and all of a sudden you slept with her less than 6 hours later. Absolutely correct. A challenge is never a bad thing. That's a good point. That's a good point. A challenge is never a bad thing. I kid you not. That's why she got the ring. And them other females, they didn't make the cut.
Wait a second. How dare you defy the Spence man?
That's right. I'm looking like, and she straight told me, I'm looking like,
yeah.
Like what?
En español, en Colombia, we say, yo no como de nacionalidad o de
My daddy ain't raised me like that.
Nope.
You know, then as progressed, I kid you not, then as time progressed and I met her mom, her grandma, her brother. Dude, Camilo was what, 17?
Camilo was
when he called me, remember Camilo
17. He was 17 years old.
Camilo, you thought Camilo was like 37-year-old big dude. He ain't nothing but a kid. We on the phone. Yeah, take care of my sister, man. She a good woman. She ain't like the rest of the women out there. Don't treat my sister.
With his bro English, but
right. Yeah, with broken English. Like, don't be treat my sister bad. My sister ain't like the rest of the chicks out there that get used up by you Americans. We know how y'all people do. I'm like, come in. Now, me and Camilo hung out the next day, and this my dude. But, because remember we went to Crystal Ray.
Yeah, my mom sent her like, okay, see what's going on.
Right.
And let me know.
Oh, I didn't know that. Camilo was the spy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when I met her family, then I saw where she got her morals from. Her mom, her dad, and the rest of the family. These people have morals. These people have standards. They're family focused. No family is perfect as far as like they're just a family of people, a group of people. But as far as some of the things that they notice, like your dad is always on us about buying a piece of property.
No, my God.
Because
me on my nerves.
In Andrea's family's eyes, you don't have a bunch of kids first. You get a piece of property for you and the kids to live in. Kids come after the property. You ain't gonna be just throwing a bunch of kids around. You ain't got no land or no apartment you own or a house that you own. Bottom feeders families don't think about stuff like that. So then I understood why Andre was like, the first night we're not going to do this. And then even as we start getting to know each other and we're dating even more, there were certain things like, okay, let's make sure that we don't have any, both of us, let's make sure we don't have any transmitted diseases. Let's make sure that this, make sure that we check so many boxes. So many boxes, dude, before we really got serious. Andrea never posted anybody on social media in her life that she dated.
No.
I had, dude, at 50, I had never, remember I was married. I have never posted anybody, not even myself, on my own Facebook page. Any photos that was on there, they were like, you know how your friends will post something and your family will post something. That was it. Andrea was literally the first person I ever posted on social media, and I was the first person she ever posted.
Actually, I was about to wait.
You go wait?
Yeah.
Then we push the buttons.
But I'm just saying, but you're not gonna post. I said, okay, I'm gonna post it. But I was around to. I mean, I'm the type of person like I posted where we already got married. I'm the type of that person that like
if I post you, we married.
We married. We already got married. We have been together for around 8 months, 1 year. But yeah, because people is envy a lot.
Yeah. And then when you break up, and then you got to explain all that.
Exactly.
And so that's the reason why I didn't post anybody. But we both stood there with our little cell phones.
Yeah. And posted.
And pushed that button, and everything changed. Because I got phone calls, she got phone calls.
Yeah.
For real.
Absolutely.
That's serious. Yeah, Andre made it official when he posted. Yes, sir. I had no problem with my posting. I already knew she was gonna be the one. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shout out to you, brothers. The definition of what being grown up does. Yeah. So, see, a lot of times you guys don't realize why Andre and I are so close, because we have been through our first 3 years. We have been through so much of the development of this relationship, trying to do it the right way. What if we could do it the right way? What if we finally met somebody in life that would allow her to be whatever she wanted and whoever she wanted, and then allow me to be whatever I wanted, whoever I wanted, and we could just gel together. And that's what we discovered about each other. And that's why we're so close, and we still have great conversations and everything, because at the end of the day, we started off doing it the right way.
I'm agree with T-Mac. He said, I don't post about relationship and social media. Some people have nothing better to do than to study other people. And I'm absolutely agree with that. I mean, I'm the type of people who, everybody knows that I'm married. Andrea, me, you're never going to see me all the time be so, we call here in Espanol, sticky to my husband. Like everything.
Clingy. We call it clingy.
No, I'm not the type of that person. And even for Andre's birthday, I'm not the woman who put the whole Bible versus social media post or something like that. I just say happy birthday, babe, I love you, and that's it, because we spend the time together, not just posted things on social media. Why? Because we see a lot of people that they post a lot of things and photos and everything, and in indoors is other type of people. So I'm not the type of person.
For the most part, even when I post of us as a couple, for the most part, we post as Andre and Andre's Love Crossing Borders, not Andre and Andre the couple, because we want you guys to be encouraged. I kid you not, I could easily say 70% to 80% of the posts that I put up that you see me and Andrea is to encourage other men to know, hey, there are great women out here. You're a great guy. Opportunity is out here for you. Be patient. Life is going to bless you. That's why I post. Me and Andrea don't post, look at us, we're doing this, we're superstars.
Exactly.
Too bad for you. We don't do that.
No, we don't.
We don't do that. We post to encourage other people. That's it. That's the only reason we'll post a photo. If you ever notice, when I post a photo of us as a couple, it's usually to encourage other people, to let you know that God's blessings can flow on you just as much as they flow on us.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna
We got video to finish. We got video to finish. Let's go.
This was one of the main reasons why we wanted to leave the US, take a risk, move abroad, and one of the reasons why we chose Portugal. Portugal is consistently ranked one of the safest and most peaceful countries in the world. And now that we've been here for 15 months or so, I can definitely tell you that I feel that. I can also tell you that going home over the holidays, I felt the opposite in my own country, in the US. So if you're looking for something more and something different than what you're experiencing in the US right now, I totally get you. And Portugal's not perfect and it's not the end all be all, but if you haven't visited here, you should, so that you can feel it for yourself and understand if this might be a place that provides you more calmness and peace. It does for us.
If you're from any one of these countries, you might be banned from ever coming to the U.S. This is the proposed new travel ban by Trump. 11 countries have a total ban. That's Venezuela and Cuba, definitely North Korea. I mean, currently these are all countries that you're highly advised to not travel to. North Korea, Iran, Venezuela, Yemen, Afghanistan, Eritrea, Cuba. However, it should be noted there are new red nations on this list. Libya, Sudan, Somalia, and then for whatever reason, Bhutan. Why Bhutan? The United States has placed Bhutan on its travel ban list, citing national security concerns and irregular migration patterns, with a 37% rise in Bhutanese visa violations. Bhutan is literally ranked as one of the world's happiest places on earth. Interesting, Bhutan has more than 10% of its citizens overstaying their visas in the US. Now as for the orange countries, these are visas that are sharply restricted. There's 10 countries here. There might not be an outright ban, but pretty much close. That would include just Haiti in the Americas, Sierra Leone, South Sudan, Eritrea, Turkmenistan and Pakistan, Myanmar and Laos, and then obviously Russia and Belarus. That one is pretty self-explanatory. I'm actually surprised that one's not in red, to be honest. Finally, the lightest countries on the quote-unquote ban, it's a 60 days to address concerns. So these countries might be left off the list, but they have 60 days to, I guess, give into demands that the US has. Pretty much all of them are in Africa, except for Cambodia over here. This is crazy because I've always looked into traveling to Chad just for the memes.
Germany is updating its travel advisory for the United States after several of its citizens were detained at the border. The new updates emphasize that a visa or waiver allowing entry does not guarantee Germans to enter the United States, warning U.S. Border Patrol has the final decision. 3 German citizens were recently detained while crossing the San Diego-Tijuana border. They were denied entry and sent to a detention center. Typically, most tourists from European countries and Germany can travel to the U.S. for up to 90 days. The news comes amid President Trump's crackdown on immigration at the Mexico border and mass deportations.
A number of European and Canadian tourists, including this woman from Vancouver, claim they were stopped at U.S. border crossings and detained at immigration facilities for days or weeks, they say without good reason. And some countries have updated travel advisories to the U.S., with Germany emphasizing to its citizens that a visa or entry waiver will not guarantee entry. And even the UK recently added a warning to its travel advisory, saying that anyone found breaking US entry rules could face arrest or detention.
The Bahamas and Jamaica are not backing down against the US. The US has been handing out travel advisories left and right, and Jamaica and the Bahamas are over their names being dragged through the dirt. Just a quick recap, Jamaica and the Bahamas have had travel advisories for some years now. But these travel advisories have been even more amplified because of some recent crimes that have been taking place in the Bahamas and Jamaica. The Jamaican Tourism Board had a few things to say about this. They're saying that there are distinctive areas in Jamaica that have high risk for crime. So the majority of the island's tourism product remains unaffected. Overall, the crime rate against visitors to Jamaica remains extremely low at 0.01%.
So I want to talk about this viral video that I did about travel bans that have been issued across the world against the United States. Check out this viral video because it talks about, it has hundreds of thousands of views. In the comments, it shows all these countries, people that have vacations, how they're not planning to go to the United States. And I just got back from a trip last week, And when I took a cab home, I asked the cab driver how business was. And he told me that the convention that was there normally has over 100,000 people. They had 100,000 people in Las Vegas at this convention in 2024. This year, they had only about 45,000 in Las Vegas. Now,
from 100,000,
each person that comes here, there's a statistic that, per how many visitors, this is how much gets spent. So that is more than half of a reduction in that convention. And Donald Trump has not even been in office 90 days. This travel restrictions are serious. I just did a post on my other account about a legal immigrant who got detained coming back from between the Canada border and racial profiling. And people are not safe to travel. They're going through your phone. And it's not that you're breaking the law. It's that somebody's making the law. They're breaking they're changing the Constitution. So Las Vegas is going to suffer, but so are other places that count on tourism, which is a lot. Florida, California, almost every state has tourism. So if you're canceling plans, drop your comments below. But yes, Las Vegas is going to be the ones that suffer as well. Business is already down.
Coming from Thailand to America, you could really feel the difference of how unsafe America is. Because I was at the barbershop the other day, and a random 2 or 3 year old boy walked in, and I asked the barber, I was like, "You have kids?" And he was like, "Yeah, I have one boy." I was like, "Oh, is this your son?" And I was expecting him to be like, "Yeah, this is my son. I, come bring him to work." So I was like, "Oh, is this your son?" And he's like, "Oh, no, that's not my kid." I was like, "Oh, whose kid is that?" Because we're the only two in the barbershop. He was like, "I don't know. I think it's just one of the other shop owners around here or somebody else's. I don't know. He just comes in sometimes." I'm like, bro,
3-year-old.
This is America. You never just see kids or babies wandering around. It's just too dangerous, Another thing, too, is I'll go to eat and I'll see people park up their scooters or their little bikes and they'll leave the key in it or they'll leave it running when they go to grab their food. Bro, you can't even leave stuff in your back seat in America, bro, without shit getting stolen. So good for the Thai people, man. They keep this shit safe.
Should Australians be travelling to the US right now?
At the very least, I think Australians need to reconsider travelling to the United States. And there's been numerous reports, regardless of profession, which I think is the important thing, of people being detained, interrogated, their electronic devices searched for in particular online commentary, negative commentary about the Trump administration. And even in a number of cases, people being temporarily imprisoned at different locations in the United States. People from Europe being detained for 19 days in detention facilities. So what's really happening here is Border Force agents, I guess, have a, for lack of a better word, key performance indicator that they need to meet in terms of inspections. And so a lot of people, just based on the suspicion of their sexuality, are being questioned and interrogated as well. The Australian Consular Services cannot guarantee they'll be able to help you. So if you are detained and they do take your electronic devices off you, which they would, there's really no one that can help you.
Land of Free and Democracy has bombed all the following countries since World War II. To begin, we don't have to travel very far. Just in Central America, the United States has bombed Nicaragua, Grenada, El Salvador, Panama, Cuba, and the Dominican Republic. Across the Atlantic Ocean, in Africa, we have Somalia, Libya, and Sudan. In Europe, the United States has bombed former Yugoslavian territories, as Montenegro, Bosnia, Kosovo, and Serbia. In the Middle East, the Land of Freedom and Democracy bombed Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, Kuwait, Iran, and most recently Yemen in South Asia. They bombed Pakistan and Afghanistan. Moving to East Asia, they delivered democracy and freedom to Japan, Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, Indonesia, North Korea. Finally, during the bombardment of Belgrade, the Chinese embassy received 5 tons of pure democracy, which adds China to the list.
Over the last few weeks, several countries have warned their citizens about travel to the U.S., and the Department of Commerce's own stats know that show that from a lot of countries, the number of visitors is falling. Does the White House have any message for people that might be reconsidering business or tourism travel to the U.S.?
Where did you see that report?
with the statistics coming from the Department of Commerce?
I'd have to look at that report to comment on the merits of it. I think most people around the world recognize the United States of America is a great place to do business. It's a beautiful place to visit, and they should certainly come here because it's a much safer country than it was 4 years ago under the previous president.
Did you know other countries are advising their citizens not to travel to the US? There are several countries all over the world that have warned their citizens about very specific issues. While we're only a level 2 out of 4 in New Zealand's system, they are warning their citizens about the increased risk of terrorism, both international and domestic. Canada warns their citizens about the firearm possessions in the United States, as well as the mass unalivings and, according to them, the increased violence along our border with Mexico. While we're just a level 1 out of 4, according to Australia, they do combine both of the reasons from New Zealand and Canada in their travel advisory. The UK's travel advisory focuses on violent crime and specifically the gun violence in the United States. France's advisory gets into specific cities of which neighborhoods you should avoid, including areas of Boston, Los Angeles, Atlanta, San Francisco, New Orleans, etc. Starting to sense a pattern in some of these countries' advisories. Any marginalized individual will know exactly what I'm talking about. Venezuela, Uruguay, and Mexico, which is not listed on this website, they all have advisories as well. Venezuela highlights what I was just referring to in the increase in hate crimes. And Uruguay kind of sums up everything we've talked about, from hate crimes to increased violence, specifically in places with large groups of people like shopping malls, religious centers, concerts, etc. I couldn't find Mexico specifically, I just remember seeing it in the past. But honestly, all of these countries, not wrong.
All right, we're going to stop it right there. We're going to stop it right there for this evening. We're going to look at some of your comments. He said the treatment I got in South Korea is better than the U.S. Shout out to you, Zeta. Jay Anderson asked this question earlier and I saw it. He's go ahead, babe.
Andre, there's a lot of good brothers I know with STD. They are petrified to travel. What would you tell them?
In all sincerity, because that is a sad scenario, and almost a loaded. It's not a loaded question, but it's a sad scenario. Personally, and I mean this. I'm not just making something up. Personally, first steps of travel, you're traveling for yourself. If you're traveling to find love, or if you're traveling to look for a spouse, you're going to that country for the wrong reason. There is nowhere in the world I would go to Brazil for women only. I'm going to Brazil if I want to be there for the peace that it gives me, the food, the so forth and so forth. And then that may include a woman. Same thing with Colombia. I didn't come to Colombia because of Andrea. Andrea was a part of the great things that I discovered about this whole country, not just one thing. So the first thing I would say to you, dude, is into these dudes, do not be petrified to travel. Get to know these countries. Enjoy these countries. Meet people in these countries. Now, number 2, when it comes to the ladies, a lot of people don't want to tell that they got a STI because they feel I'm going to run the ladies off. Well, right out the gate in the beginning, you should be getting to know that person without any sexual interaction like we did.
Yeah.
So once that person gets to know you, and now you can talk to them, I got something important I need to talk to you about. But that person has gotten a chance. Am I correct?
Absolutely. And hold it, you take your medication.
Right. And you can tell that person, like, listen, I'm on a certain type of medication. I've got this particular. Now, that person may not agree with you and say, you know what? Thank you, but no thank you. But this is South America. There are so many other options here of women that you're going to come across to where, because in all sincerity, for most of us, all we need is 1 or 2. I don't need all 21 million women to fall in love with Andre. I just needed 1. Some of you guys need maybe 2. But at the end of the day, always remember, if one person says no, okay, cool. This is South America. There's somebody that's just as beautiful as her, somebody just as feminine, somebody just as fit, somebody just as fun as that person was. Will it be sad? You may have to go through 2 or 3 people. You may have to go through 5 or 6 people to meet the right one. Those of us without diseases have to do the exact same thing. I would give the person that has diseases the same advice that I would give a dude that doesn't have diseases. When you come to South America, you got to take your time. You got to be patient if you want something that's proper. If you want the right woman that's going to be on your team, you got to be patient. And it's not going to be the first Colombiana or the first Venezuelan or the first Ecuadorian woman that you come across, whether you have an STD or STI or you don't. These rules apply for both guys. If you have it, you're still going to have to use these principles. If you don't have it, you're still going to have to use these principles.
Yeah.
If you want success.
Yeah. Okay.
Winifred, yeah, we're gonna wrap this up, guys. But Winifred says this. He said, "Do you need 1 or 2?" He said, "Just joking." Yeah. A lot of dudes do. But we're about to wrap this up, guys. We're up out of here. All right, guys. Tomorrow, NFL draft on Rumble. Me and my boy Nick. He's from the States. He's our upstairs neighbor, New York brother, real cool. He's a fantasy football man like many of us are. We're going to be watching the NFL draft, first round draft tomorrow. So we're going to meet up here on YouTube. And by the time the draft gets started, we're going to go over to Rumble like we do on movies night. So if you guys want to watch the NFL draft, you ain't got nobody to watch it with, and you want to have some fun watching the draft, come on over. I'm going to create the link tomorrow morning. And we're going to be watching the NFL draft together, whether it be 50 of us or 1,500 of us. We're just going to have some fun, drink some beers, and enjoy the NFL draft. And me and my man, Nick is going to come down and sit in Andrea's seat. And we're just going to watch the NFL, at least the first round of the NFL draft, and see how our teams are doing.
Okay. That's good. Good live stream tonight.
Yes, sir. My man, Jay Anderson, he said, "Thanks for letting me know." Dre, he said, "I'll tell my bro to watch your channel." Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead, Miss Spence.
No, nothing. I mean, it was a good live stream.
It was. Shout out to you guys. Let me give you guys the famous cowgirl outro. And then we'll see you guys tomorrow. Like I said, we're going to meet here on YouTube. We'll be here for about a half an hour, and then we're all going to head over to Rumble.